Hello, Arty Peoples, and welcome to another episode of Jerry's Live. My name is Emmy Klein, and I am your host this evening. Now, today I have a really fun show planned where we're just going to be going over some really pretty colors. This is like visual candy in front of me, and I'm so excited because I've been obsessed with these. But before I officially jump into these wonderful paints, I wanted to remind you that if you are interested in checking out anything that I'm using throughout the show, go to the website JerrysArtarama.com, and in the search bar at the top of the page, type in today's class code, which is JL407, and when you type that in, the teacher's cart should pop up, and then you can check out everything there. But officially, I wanted to talk to you guys about our new luminous colors in the Tusc Pine oil paints. I'm obsessed is a term that's like putting it mildly. I am very obsessed with these colors. So there are 10 of them, and just to kind of give you an overall idea, they are really high key, high chroma, vibrant tints, essentially. Now, these aren't colors that are like required on your palette or anything like that, but it's one of those ones where, like, if these are colors that you're drawn to or that you put into your paintings all of the time, these are so wonderful to have, and they're so consistent out of the tube, because remember, Tusc Pine oil paints, they mix a little bit of science with the beauty of creativity. So all of these colors are going to be consistent every time that you get them. Just the way that they're milled and the way that their machinery works. It's precise and it's delightful. So just to quickly go over these tubes, they do come in the 40 milliliter size as well as the 150 milliliter size, in case you are someone who paints a lot or on the larger size of the larger scale, I should say. So that's really nice that if that's a color that you're going to be using all the time, just go ahead and get it in the 150 milliliter, so that way you are taken care of. Now I'm going to actually just pop that down here because I wanted to swatch these for you guys. What better way to explore these colors than to move some paint around on canvas? So just to name these colors, and then I'll go through and swatch them. We have the Luminous Lemon. So it's like a lemony yellow, so it kind of leans a little bit more green, but it's right here. And in case anybody is curious, all these swatches that you're seeing on the tube, as a reminder, they're all hand painted. So this is the paint that is inside the tube. So it, clearly you can see everything matches. So Luminous Lemon. I have my Luminous Yellow, which is more of like a primary kind of yellow. It leans a little bit more orange than the Luminous Lemon. And I'd say it leans a little bit more orange than it, just in comparisons. But if you had only this on your palette, that is like a beautiful, just quintessential yellow. I really love this a lot. Then we are moving into kind of our more orangey era, which is where I'm currently living with my hair today. We have a Luminous Orange, which is this beautiful, it almost feels peachy, but it is a beautiful orange that is just kind of tinted down, but really lovely. Then we have a Luminous Coral, so it's got kind of a orangey red vibe. Very much in love with that too. I'm in love with all of these. Again, obsessed is putting it mildly. A Luminous Red. So when you think of red, it tints down to pink, so of course you're getting a pink. But in the range of this is like a quintessential red that is just pulled down with that the white. So it's a beautiful pink. And then we have a magenta as well, the Luminous Magenta, which pulls a little bit more purple, but I wouldn't say it is purple, because it definitely still has that like red magenta kind of pink vibe. But then of course we do have the Luminous Violet, which is like a beautiful quintessential violet that is just tinted down. A Luminous Blue, gotta have one of those, of course. And actually, let me pull this over slightly to the side, because I just realized that picture to picture is kind of cutting off my palette here. Then we have, we're all obsessed with turquoise here. Teals, turquoises, any of those kind of blue-green kind of colors, as you can see by the set. So of course the Luminous Turquoise is definitely one of my favorites. I love it so much. And then the Luminous Green, which is like a beautiful kind of almost yellowy green, but that goes so hand in hand with that Luminous Lemon. they work really well together, and I'll show you how to kind of functionally mix those together later. So let's officially do some swatches. And as I move things around on my table here, of course, if you guys do have questions as I'm going throughout this whole process, pop them in the chats. I have our amazing moderators in the chats there. And then if you guys have questions while I'm live, or if you want to see something very specific, let me know. We can always make this happen. So did we have a question?
Yes. Are these open stock, or does it come in a set?
That is a beautiful question. That is a delightful question. You can get them individually. You do not have to buy them in a set. So if you just wanted the luminous coral or luminous turquoise, or them together, because look at what they look like together. It's kind of becoming my new obsession to put these two together, not gonna lie. But if you want just one or two, or all of them, you can buy them individually. Now granted, we do have two sets. This is one set with our warm colors, and then this is the other set with our cool colors. So we have two different sets. That way, if you wanted to buy both sets, I think they have the option where you can get both sets together and you can just get all 10 colors. Or if you just want the warm colors, or if you just want the cool colors, those are available as well. So yes, we have sets and we have open stock. I don't believe, correct me if I'm wrong, can somebody please look this up though? I don't believe the larger tubes come in a set. These. You can only get the smaller tubes in the set. Yes, okay, confirmed. Confirmed. The smaller tubes are the ones that come in the set. So you can get these in sets. This you would have to buy individually. So just to keep you, updated. You have a question?
Yes, on YouTube we were wondering, are these opaque colors?
They are. And actually, the best way to describe it is that these are beautiful colors with white, because they're tinted down. They're really vibrant. I mean, you can see them. They're so bright and vibrant, but they are tinted down with white. And they do that before they hit the mill. So yes, you could technically mix like these colors together, but it's hard to describe the visual difference, because I've mixed it together off to the side with white and the colors that, like the pigments that they have in here. I've mixed it myself, and you can't get the vibrancy that they have here, because once they take that pigment and the white, the titanium white, I believe is, yes, PW6 is the white pigment that's found in these. So that's a titanium white. When they mill that together, you get a vibrancy that is impossible to replicate when you mix it together by hand. Like if you were to take those two pigments and mix it on your palette, you're still not going to get the vibrancy, just because at that level of milling it together with the machine, it incorporates them together so well that it just becomes such a vibrant, like it's like the vibrancy is turned up almost. But they all have white in them, so they are very opaque. Great question though. Now, I did also want to quickly show you this, because I am obsessed. So this is, I did break them into the two different sets. So this is the set, the warm set. I feel like I should do that. This is the warm set. So I have all of the colors sort of, let me actually do this, because I feel like that's a little bit easier to see. I have all of the colors pure out of the tubes here on the sides, and then I mix them all together. So like say if I wanted to take the luminous orange and mix it with that luminous red, this is that beautiful color that I'm going to get. So these are the different mixes that you can get within each set. I also wanted to do that with the cool set as well, so that you guys can see, because I mean we do have the luminous magenta is definitely like a pink red, and then when you get the green, you get kind of a naturalistic tone, because it kills the saturation just because they're opposite on the color wheel. So that's why you're going to get that happening here, just to kind of show you that that can happen. But that's, if you were to mix all of these together, which I still want to do one of these days, I'm going to make a master mixing set where I can kind of do all of them. That's on my to-do list, but I wanted to show you guys quickly that like how well they mix together. So let's do some swatches. We're going to start with that Luminous Lemon. And we're just going to kind of do a drawdown here. And get off the back of my, only on the back of my palette knife here. And then I wanted to kind of break it down with a little bit of the safflower oil. Now I believe all of these, because they have such a brightness to them, they're all made with safflower oil. So that will yellow less over time than linseed oil, because that was one of the things that was really important to us when they were making these, is that they're going to retain that brilliancy. We don't want it to kind of get tinged down with the oil, just, you know, that's going to happen over time. So we wanted to keep these as bright as possible. So we made sure to use an oil that will definitely keep and retain that brilliancy. Now that does mean that these do dry a touch slower than the others, and that's okay. It's still oil paint, it's still going to cure. It might take ever so much longer. It always depends on how you paint though, of course. So if you're painting in really thick, like if essentially this is your painting, that's gonna take a minute to dry. It's just how oil paints work. If you apply it on the thinner side, it's going to dry a lot faster. If you apply it with solvent rather than the safflower oil, it's definitely going to dry a lot faster as well, because the solvent pulls that, you know, fat content down and will make your oil paints dry a little quicker. Now, let's do our luminous yellow. And I kind of wanted to have these side by side so you guys can really see what they look like. I'm gonna actually just kind of almost zigzag these. How about that? Ugh. So you can see the difference there. So it's almost like having a split palette is the best way I can kind of describe this. And I was definitely a big component to developing these colors. This is kind of where I live as a painter. I love vibrant colors. I love popping these in. And these are definitely one of the colors that like you can use on their own. Like I did the paintings for the two sets, the hands. I did those paintings with only these colors. So you can use them by themselves and, you know, paint with them and at their, you know, vibrancy being as high as possible and kind of breaking it down with solvent and kind of using that to get your values. But I really think when these colors are used in tandem with other just more standard colors, that's really where they sing. It is my favorite thing to do a very serious painting, whether it be a landscape or a portrait, and then pop these crazy colors on top and then get these like little pops of like vibrant like happiness. It's like painting with happiness, really. It's the best way I can describe it. And then on top of that, like it will be painting also almost like with your like light. You're painting with light. These have such a high vibrancy that it feels like once you pop them onto a painting. And actually, do we have that sunflower? I really wanted to show you guys this as well. So this is a really great, and I'm sorry for anybody who's watching on the TikTok and Instagram. I don't think you guys are seeing this. If you want to see this, actually I can kind of hold up the actual original painting. This is the painting I'm talking about. If you go over onto YouTube or Facebook, I believe you guys can see this with the before and after, which is really great. So if you look at this, the painting without luminous colors, that was when I finished it. That was a fully finished painting and I was really happy with it. I was really, really pleased with how it turned out. And then I decided to add the luminous colors on top, and it's almost like the sun was turned on. Like it just, the light just shone on top of all of those little flowers and even the crazy colors that I incorporated into the stem. It's the turquoise and the luminous green and all of those just, it turns up the vibrancy and makes it feel like light is just shining and radiating on this object, which is a sunflower. So it was really, really fun to see the difference really between the two of them. So while these are beautiful on their own, once you incorporate them into a more traditional colored painting, that's where I That's what just brings me happiness. I don't know about you guys. So while I'm swatching these, of course, please tell me what colors you are more drawn to and tell me what you want to use them for, because I want to hear your ideas. All right, let's work on this luminous orange. Oh, so pretty. This brings me such happiness. So I'm also a portrait painter. I can paint all the things, of course, but like sunflowers, landscapes, fruit, all that. But where I really love to kind of land as far as like my art on my own is portraits. I really do love painting portraits. If I could just paint portraits all day, that's where I would just be my happiest. And these next couple colors are really lovely for that, especially when you have, say, like a limited portrait set that you're working with. I actually have a portrait down here that I used a limited palette kind of on, and I want to say that was actually Charvin oil paints. That was the Jerry's Live, a previous Jerry's Live, where I painted with a limited palette, and that was a portrait set that is, I don't think it was actually a portrait set. I want to say it was like, it was this guy. I honestly cannot remember what that set was. I want to say it was not intended for portraits, but it was really, really desaturated. Now, since then, I have added just a brown tone in the background because I wanted to kind of test something. This is what happens to my paintings, guys. But when it comes to something like this, it was a very limited palette. And so I did tint, I want to say that's like a burnt sienna in the back, or maybe that's the Appalachian brown. It's definitely Tuscan Pine. And then I tinted his face just a little bit. But it's still really, really desaturated painting if you know my art. My art is really, really vibrant. And so when I take something like, let me work with the coral here. If I take that coral, which is a really lovely kind of pinky red, right? And I have the safflower oil on. And remember, this is a pretty opaque color, so I have a lot of safflower oil. If I take that and just kind of glaze just a little bit here and there, it's like the warmth was just brought into his face. Now, if I realize that I think the shadows got a little too warm, I can do the same thing and cool them off. And I'll do that once I get to like probably the purples. But it's a really lovely color, especially the luminous orange as well, because everyone has different skin tones. Some people pull more yellow, some people pull more orange, some people pull definitely more in that pinky area. If you have, I want to say it's like Italian ancestry, they have a lot of greens, like the olive greens in their skin tones, which are really lovely. So you can also pull something a little bit more green, but you know, if you really take the time and look at the different skin tones, you can find all these really beautiful colors. But that's, yeah, we'll pull that before I forget to swatch this. And I just got the luminous red on there. Let me make sure I don't get that mixed in. There we go. All right, luminous coral. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. Oh, brings me happiness. So have we gotten anybody talking about which colors they love so much? I don't know. It's one of those things where I feel like it's all of them, personally.
Everybody's saying all of them?
Yes. I agree. All of them. All right, now, so that is the luminous coral, luminous orange. Then I got the luminous red. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure I don't go off camera here. And it is so lovely. Oh, I want like a lipstick in this color. Anybody else? Is it just me? All right, let's break this down with some safflower oil so you guys can really see those undertones. Oh, so pretty. All right, need to try and get most of that pigment off on my paper towel before I rinse out my brush. So there's the warm colors. I have another palette or another panel that I'm going to use on the cool colors, but that is the just a pull down with all of them, and then this is breaking down with more and more safflower oil so you guys can really see. I do know there's a bit of a glare. Let me make sure I can kind of, there we go. You can see how it gets a little less pigmented as we move further away, but you can see those colors breaking down. So these are really lovely to use as a glaze. And I love that even though they do have white mixed in, they don't go chalky, which is why I adore glazing with them. It's really wonderful to use. So there are our warm colors. I will, of course, be able to bring those back if you guys do have more questions about those, but we need to move on to the cool colors. Let me make sure I rinse out my brush really, really well. I want to make sure we don't get any kind of cross-contamination. All right. So, out of curiosity, who prefers the warm color set and who prefers the cool color set? Because I feel like I am so torn, right? I feel like the colors that I like to use a lot in portraiture is in the warm set. And then the colors that I want to use just for everything is in the cool color set. Because it feels like candy. Oh, all right. So, cool colors. We're going to start off with our Luminous Magenta. Remember, it's a red that pulls a little bit more purple. Get off the front end of that. My goodness. Make a mess. So pretty. We're going to pull that off to the side with some safflower oil. Okay. Put that on top. There we go. So you can really see it is quite opaque until you start pulling it out with that oil. And actually, can you guys grab me a painter's color diary? I had that in the teacher's cart because I wanted to actually show you guys the opacity of these, and I can quickly do that swatch as well onto the painter's color diary because it has that line through the page, and that would definitely show you the opacity really well. And I will do my best to do a relatively thin application of paint so that way you guys can see just how opaque these are. Hey, there we go. I don't think I have a super massive brush. Thank you. Okay, so Painter's Color Diary. So this is actually the one that's rated for oils or acrylics, so I know my oils are going to be safe on here. But these are the different boxes that you guys can swatch in or make your mixes or notate, all of that jazz, in case you guys aren't familiar with what a Painter's Color Diary is. But I wanted to quickly show you. So I'm just going to swatch directly over that line and try and get a relatively thin application because, you know, if I blob it on, of course it's going to be opaque. You're not going to see anything. But if I do a really thin application, you can see just how opaque that is. You are going to see a little bit of the line through just because I'm going so thin, but that line is pretty much going to be obliterated. So that's a really, really thin application. And that was the Luminous Lemon. I have to go through all these colors again. Darn it. I just cleaned my brush. Anybody ever do that? You forgot to do something with a color and you're like, ah, I gotta do that again. Because I do that all of the time. Ooh, perfect. Here we go. I'm trying not to get that in my blob of paint here. Let me actually just squish this up a little bit more. There we go. All right. So we can do this one really, really thin. And remember, I do also still have a little touch of solvent on my brush because it's not perfectly dry. So there's probably a touch of solvent getting mixed in as well. But there you go. That is the Luminous Yellow. such a pretty color. Makes me want to paint lemons all day. Because that would be like the highlight color. That would be the more of the shadows. Right? All right, here's our luminous orange. Trying to get a very thin application. Okay, there we go. Almost dry brushing this on. Alright. And then we have, try to pull as much solvent off my brush as well as I can. This is the Luminous Coral. Oh, so pretty. Seriously obsessed with these. Alright. And then we have one more. The Luminous Red to finish off our warm color set. I almost dipped that into the wrong color. Oops. Yes, it is. Yeah, that's Luminous Red. Almost thought I got a magenta. It is not purple enough for magenta. There you go. Yeah, you can really see how much that line disappears. Like you can sort of see it, but it's quite opaque. And remember, I'm thin application. So if you paint any thicker than that, which is relatively easy to do, in general, I apply more paint than that usually. Unless I'm mixing in solvent again or the safflower oil, then you're definitely going to get way more coverage. Okay, so this is the Luminous Magenta. So pretty. All right, let me get a little bit more on my brush. There you go. So pretty. And then we're going to move into the purple. It's the Luminous Violet. All right, there we go. Get that over here. All right. So now I'm going to do a swatch with my palette knife. Right here. Oh, so pretty. This, I know Amanda is not here today because she's off for the evening, but this is, we brought Amanda back. We miss you, Amanda, in case you are wondering and watching. But let's break that down with some safflower oil. There we go. Oh, so pretty. Such a beautiful, it feels lavender, you know, it's quite lovely. Now actually before I fully clean off my brush, we're going to do an application here on our page. Probably still have a little bit of that safflower oil on my brush, but it's so opaque. That line is immediately gone. You have a question?
Yes. Do these mix well with regular colors, or
They do. They do. I feel like I need a regular color. What regular color should I mix in? I feel like one that's found quite often on palettes is like burnt sienna. What is that?
You know where I'm gonna go.
Phthalo turquoise or phthalo blue or phthalo emerald or any of the blues or phthalo, like turquoisey color. I mean, all right, maybe we do a burnt sienna and a phthalo. I'll allow you to
both sides.
Yeah, we need candy colors, and because again, I really feel like these do so well when you mix them with naturalistic, like more standard colors, ones that get really dark, really deep, because these are like like the light is being shown onto whatever object that you're painting. And I have a couple other paintings down here that I was going to touch in a little bit of luminous colors as well, that are just standard colors, although I do think I have a iridescent one. All right. So I have burnt sienna and phthalo turquoise. What colors am I mixing with what?
Yes.
We just said yes. Okay, so burnt sienna being more on it's like a orangey brown. So I got to remember that I already have like an orange base that I'm starting with. So if I mix that luminous green or the turquoise or the blue, it's going to give me more mud, which would be kind of interesting. I don't know what that would look like. We can find out. But these work really, really well with all colors. Okay, so I'm going to actually just pop this over here, and this is going to go up here, and we're going to do a little mixture here. There's my burnt sienna. I feel like I need to eeny, meeny, miny, moe it. Which color should I mix in with this? I'm so torn. Like, I can mix a couple colors. All right, so there's my burnt sienna. Let's mix coral. Okay, I was in between the coral and the orange, honestly. Remember, there is a titanium white in there. So that is going to tint it, and it's going to pull that vibrancy up. But that is the beautiful color that mixes. Anybody need to get like a rosy cheek or like shadow colors, anything like that? Again, also would be really cool for like if you're painting like rocks that have any kind of like oranginess to them. That would be really, really lovely. Sometimes rocks almost go like a pink kind of coral kind of vibe. So that would be a really like more naturalistic. Okay, now I have that. What else am I mixing with? I feel like I'm going to go here, here, and we're going to try one of these. I feel like that would be fun. Let's go with the magenta, because it's a little bit more purple. And I'm trying to get like magenta to burnt sienna. So like I'm trying not to like fully mix it. I'm trying to get like almost like a gradient here. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, that's pretty. So there is the coral and there is the magenta. One just pulls a little bit more purple, just like they do right here, you know? That's really pretty though. Okay, and I think for this one, we're gonna also do...
You gotta vote.
Yeah, you guys gotta tell me. Am I doing blue, am I doing turquoise, or am I doing that green?
We have one vote for blue on YouTube.
Okay. Wait, have we any other votes on Facebook or the other? Sorry, I know there's a lot of platforms that they're checking, so 1 second. Okay.
Maybe it's just oohing and ahhing.
I know, it's really pretty. Okay, so blue, here's the thing. Usually when you take a blue, and I want to say this is a like phthalo blue, because it's, yeah, the pigment inside of the luminous blue is PB15 with a :1. So that is a phthalocyanine blue. Tell me I've talked about pigments way too much in my life. So usually when you use a blue like that and you mix it with a burnt sienna, you get a chromatic black. This has white in there, so I'm going to guess that it's going to go gray. We're going to find out. All right. I feel like there's...
My other favorite color.
It might... All right. It always depends on how much you mix together. Normally when I go chromatic black, I use more blue than I do the burnt sienna. So I'm going to try and do that here. It's definitely giving me a desaturated kind of blue-gray. It feels a little bit more green than I was expecting. But that might be because that's a phthalo blue, and usually the blues that I use for a chromatic black are ultramarine, and they pull a little bit more purpley than the phthalo blues do. So So I feel like a phthalo blue naturally pulls a little bit on the green side. That's really pretty. Now we're gonna, of course, add more of this burnt sienna over here. Let me actually put it down so I can mix properly. I feel like that would be a really fun thing to do. Maybe in the future is just go live and have you guys tell me what colors to mix together, and we're gonna see what happens and see if I can guess it. Anybody want to see that? That's so pretty. That's really lovely. It is kind of a gray, but like it's either going to pull more green or it's going to pull way more like warm because of the warmth of that burnt sienna, but that's lovely.
Swatch it on the white. We can see.
Oh, yeah. Here. Because I feel like that's a definite, we're going to put it over here. That's a gray. We made gray. It's a really pretty gray. And it's wild. This is why I use a gray palette here. It does help me see the values because I usually when I paint, I take out all of the white of my panel. So this is kind of like a neutral gray, and that's why I can see it here. But if I were to put it on a white panel, it looks so dark. But that's why your surface and your palette color make a difference, really. But there you go. I made gray. That's so fun. Okay, now let me wipe this off because we still do have a couple of swatches to do, and then I'll mix some more colors, and then I think that's probably going to be the show. My goodness. Okay, but I want to make sure we do finish swatching these before I do jump into mixing that phthalo turquoise, because we got 3 more colors to swatch here. Also, I don't want to like potentially contaminate those colors. Okay, so there's the luminous blue, which remember is like a phthalocyanine blue. And that pulls a little bit more on that like cyan kind of green blue, whereas like an ultramarine blue in comparison is like a more purpley blue. And that's where I'm saying it pulls a little bit more green. In this realm, it's just a blue. It is a beautiful, it just reminds me of sky blue. It's so lovely. And actually, this is the one that when we were doing some filming earlier, I popped this into my horizon line, and it looked like the whole world was just glowing that I was painting. The world that I was painting was glowing. It just brought light to my sky that was so wild just because of how bright and vibrant that is. Again, that saturation being so high, like the vibrancy, not the saturation, sorry. The vibrancy of that color being so high really makes it just feel light. Like the lights were turned on. I don't know how else to say that. It's so fun. Okay, 2 more colors to swatch. All right, here's one of our favorites, as we all know. Turquoise. Ugh, I'm trying not, I really should have put my paint out on my palette in a different way. I was expecting it to be more horizontal, but I'm running out of space, so bear with me here. Oh, it's so pretty. All right, there's our luminous turquoise. We're gonna break that down with some safflower oil. Now, this is one where I definitely want to put it in every kind of water that I paint ever. It's just so lovely. And it's definitely one of my favorite colors. I can't tell you how many water bottles and coffee mugs I have that are that color. Katie just held up hers. Yep, it is literally identical. Pretty sure if I did a swatch of paint on your mug, you would never know. That'd be the world's worst prank. You're just like, where is this teal coming from? It's your water bottle. Don't do that. Don't waste your beautiful art supplies on that type of a thing. But that would be funny. For me, not for you. You'd be so mad. All right. Last color to swatch is our luminous green. Now this one is one that I really love for any kind of landscape. It feels like when you pop this onto your, of course there's a glare, sorry. Let me try and, there we go. That's better. I'm gonna have to hold this funny. When you pop this onto any kind of trees or foliage that you're painting, it looks like light is just hitting that area. Just because when sunshine does hit leaves and foliage, it goes a little bit more yellow and it goes brighter. So this does kind of both. Now, if you really want a lot of luminosity to your foliage, mix this with that lemon yellow, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. It's so pretty, but it just looks like sunshine is beaming out of your plants or your trees or whatever you paint that on. It's so pretty. So I thought I just got paint all over my hand. There are the cool colors. So beautiful. All right, now I want to do some more mixtures because we're obsessed. All right, where's my paper towel? Gotta clean this off. So before I go too far, I think it was this one. So I had a pumpkin painting, and yes, that is iridescent. It's this is that pearlescent white mixed with, I think, the phthalo emerald. Honestly, it's either phthalo emerald or phthalo turquoise. I think it's the emerald because it pulls a little bit more green. Regardless, this is an oil painting that I had done a while ago. Again, I love it. It makes me happy, but I feel like if I were to add some of this luminous colors to it, it would just pop a little bit more. But I wanted to really show you, because I do have some foliage in there, and I was trying to get some light hitting some of these leaves. But as you can see, they feel like it feels like it went a little chalky. Like it went a little chalky and they're kind of just lost in there. And I feel like if I were to add a little bit of this luminous green to that, we're just gonna do, see how that light just, it turns on the light. It is wild how just a couple swipes and all of a sudden I have light on my leaves. It's wild. And then even with the little bumps on the pumpkin, that's really more in shadow down here. Light. It's wild. So if I want even brighter, take that luminous green, mix it in with the luminous lemon. Be a 50-50 ratio. It could be a little bit more yellow than the green. And then you can get a subtle variation that is just slightly brighter. Isn't that crazy? There's a leaf in here. Maybe add a leaf here. It's so crazy how bright that gets. There's a leaf down here. Just kind of pop it around. There's a leaf down there. Crazy. You know what? Actually, I want a little bit on here. Just because I think it needs a little bit more brightness. Now, I want to say, if I were to take, so you need to mix some things with that phthalo turquoise, right? I feel like phthalo turquoise would, of course, mix with the greens and the blues and the other turquoise really, really well. I kind of want to see what that looks like, honestly. When I take phthalo turquoise and luminous turquoise, what does it do? Is too turquoise too much? Asking for a friend. I'm the friend. It's me. So, I kind of want to see what that looks like. Not gonna lie. Okay, that's pretty. That's really pretty. Oh my goodness. So that's phthalo turquoise mixed with the luminous turquoise. Can confirm, too much turquoise, not a thing. Limit does not exist. All right, now, what else am I mixing with this phthalo turquoise? That is the question. I'm gonna have blue here, but we know that would look pretty. Let's go red or magenta. That's red. This is magenta. Magenta? Okay, let me not contaminate that with the phthalo turquoise. Now remember, phthalo turquoise is really strong. Anything with a phthalo is going to be on the stronger side. So I'm gonna try my best not to add too much. A little goes a long way. Ooh, that's pretty. And what's funny is I had a video on here talking about making blue. And I took a sort of purpley red and a turquoise and mixed them together. And when you get the ratios right, you make a blue. And I think that's what this is going to do. But it has white in there, so it's going to be a lighter blue. And I'm definitely feeling like I'm in that category. It's more like a periwinkle, but let me, yeah, no, that's blue. I'm looking at it on camera, and that is blue. I made blue. Again. So yeah, that's my party trick for the day. Thank you very much, and good night. That's, yeah, if anybody tells you that you can't mix the primaries, you can definitely mix blue. It's not like a pure phthalo blue, but you can see how bright that got. It has a little bit of white in there, so remember that. But yeah, here, let's swatch that as well, actually, now that I've fully cleaned off my palette knife. Oh, that's so pretty. So pretty. Yeah. All right, so now one more mixture with the phthalo. What am I mixing with? I feel like one of these.
Do the green?
No, I'm not gonna mix the green in because we know green and green. Like phthalo, the phthalo turquoise is already kind of a green, so when you mix the green in, it's gonna look great. Do I want to do lemon, yellow, or the orange? Because orange is gonna be kind of mud. Lemon? We're doing lemon.
You want bright?
Yeah.
We want bright. This is gonna give me like a bright green. I think it's gonna give me like, honestly, I'm gonna go with like a slime green. Feels like slime green. Hold on, I feel like I need more lemon. But phthalo is so strong. That's pretty. That's really pretty. Again, I'm sorry, I have a glare. Trying not to get the glare in there. Now, if I add a little bit more of that phthalo turquoise, again, that white in the paint is going to tint it down, but it's still such a clean mixture. It's so wild. And so pretty. There you go. That's beautiful. All right, so I don't know about you guys. Again, I'm obsessed, and that is putting it mildly. But I, again, really still want to hear what you guys, what are your favorite colors out of all 10 of these? If it's all of them, let me know that too. Let me know that I'm not alone. And let me know what you guys are going to use these for, because I'm going to use them for everything. That's just me. But it's one of those things where these are just so fun, and it's just like a pop of like a surprise every time you add them to your palette. So I hope you guys get your hands on these. I hope you get to enjoy them as much as I do. And that was our Luminous Colors. Again, they are from Tusc Pine Oil Paints. And if you do want to check them out, go to the website, JerrysArtarama.com, and type in today's class code, which is JL407. Now, of course, don't forget to come back next week, because Nicalia is going to be back with Soho Handmade Pastels, and it's going to be a really fun show. Now, before you guys do officially leave, wait, don't leave, we have an announcement. And it is a bit of a sort of sad announcement, but not sad. It's not sad, right?
It's exciting.
It is. It is exciting. It's exciting sad. It's sad. Sad? No. Anyway. Jerry's Live, as we know it officially, is dying. It's going the way of the dinosaur. So in the sense of we're not going anywhere. Michaela and I are still going to be here. We're still going to give you guys amazing classes. And we just decided that doing them every single week and having them being a short format was not helping you guys in your art practice, in the sense of we feel like we can give you guys more. We want to extend how long these shows are, but that means we are going to have a couple less of them throughout the year. So we are going to go to a once a month starting in 2026. So we are going to take some time off after this season is officially ending, because we always take December off. So we are going to take some time off. My brush almost fell, sorry. We're going to take some time off, and then we are going to come back with a different kind of format. I don't know if we're still calling it Jerry's Live. I think we're going to call it something different.
Jerry's Live workshops.
Something. But of course, make sure you stay tuned on any social media, Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, all of that. We're going to have announcements with more details in the future, but I just wanted to let you guys know that we have been super honored to be able to do this for you guys. It has been an absolute blast. We've been doing it for 9 years, which is insane. It's been such a good run. But I think it's time to do a little bit of a change, and we're going to reformat the show and give you something a little bit more special and a little bit longer and a little bit more in depth. Not a little bit more in depth. It's going to be a lot more in depth. So we're going to give you guys more of our heart and soul and knowledge. So I'm very excited to kind of give that to you guys. So is Michaela, who is, again, remember, she's going to be on next week with the Soho Handmade Pastels. So stay tuned then, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!